Hello and welcome to another edition. So this time we're going to leave Moscow and fly to Baku, Azerbaijan. Uniform Echo Echo is Moscow, and we're going to Uniform Bravo 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 UBBB. It's 1,057 nautical miles. Going to be cruising at flight level 370. I'll record this in pieces because it'll take about 2.5 hours from takeoff to landing. So we're on runway 24 left. We're sitting here waiting for our final clearance, and then once we do get that, we'll be able to go. The computer's loaded, flight plan, flight routes all loaded, and we'll get to go. The cool thing about this is the 1.4 version of the ToLiss Airbus A319, so I'm flying a 319 today, a little different, and also running X-Plane 11 in the 11.5, which is the still a beta release, but it's the next, will be the next iteration using Vulkan for the video compiling and all that shading. So this is beta 6 for 11.50 X-Plane. I think we're all set to go. We've got a full complement of crew and passengers in the back. Taking off on runway 24 left. It's a 12,100 foot runway. We're fairly well loaded down with 9.7 kilograms of fuel and a takeoff weight of something around 65,000 kilograms. 65 tons, let's say. Alright, 65 kilos. Alright, so I think we're going to, first, it's kind of an interesting bit out where we'll kind of do a circle climb, climbing out to the left. We'll climb straight and then we'll turn to the left and then we'll kind of come back. The airport will be back on our left, kind of loop around, almost a loop if you will. We'll go around Moscow proper. The airport we're flying out of is on the northwest side of Moscow proper. We'll fly around the city and then we'll cruise off to the south. So without delay, let's release the brakes and we're ready to go.
Runway entry procedure, and I'm ready.
Okay, so our co-pilot over there, Speedy Co-Pilot, as a plug-in. Speedy Co-Pilot is ready to go. And we'll just inch our way up here. 45 frames per second. A few minutes ago I actually saw it bump over 50, so that's not bad. I can show my settings here at some point or describe them.
Approaching 24 left.
Double checks. 24 left is the runway we want to use. I tried to maximize this. I'll minimize it in a few minutes once we kind of get moving.
Runway 24 left.
We are on runway 24 left. We'll see the markings on the ground. No traffic in front of us. Maybe there's a parallel runway. Two parallel runways actually, 24 center and 24 right that are off over there. So, alright, this looks pretty good. I think we ought to, we'll be just a little right of the center line, but we're going to be alright. So we're going to advance the, let me tell you the winds real fast. They are 158 at 8, and we're taking off on 240 degrees, so not much of an effect, so I probably don't need much.
Thrust set.
We're going to go Mantoga. Throttles to the stops. Get it back over there a little bit. Really shouldn't be any crosswind.
100 knots.
Okay. So joystick neutral by 100. There we go. Going down the runway. Here we go. V1. V1 and rotate speeds are the same today, so we're up and off. There we go.
Positive climb.
About 15 degrees is all we need to do coming out of the gate here first. Gears coming up. Go ahead and put the nav on. It'll straighten us up a little bit for this first waypoint. That's a little exaggerated right there. We wouldn't be doing that much. Alright, come back. Now we're going to take a little bit of a turn. Got a positive rate. So we'll go ahead and put those in thrust climb. We make our turn. Got to be above 2,600 feet here at 215 knots. We'll probably blow through 215 pretty fast. Alright, so we're ready to flaps up.
Flaps up. Running.
Turn off the dome light, kind of see a little bit better out there. So we got a little more course correction coming up here in just a second.
Do you want the after takeoff checklist?
I always want the after takeoff checklist. Okay, there's transition altitude is a little weird. It's 4,570 feet here, but we're there. 215 on the meter. That's the speed. Well past our minimum, being above basically 2,600 feet. Big left-hand turn coming up, kind of a tight turn. Show you the map real quick because we're fixing to take a big right-hand turn here in just, left-hand turn in just a second. Yep, there we go, left-hand turn. Let me show you a little bit more of the scenery. This is at night. I'm flying at 7 p.m. Eastern, which would be about 2300 Zulu, and puts it fairly early in the morning for Moscow. Make a big looping turn here. Just double check we're not in trouble on our speeds. Nope, we're still holding 230 knots. I'm going to level off at 10,000 feet here. That's kind of the minimum, way above what we needed to be at 4,570 feet here by the KS waypoint. Again, 230 knots. And we're climbing, actually we're not climbing anymore, we'll be climbing again in a second.
Speed alt.
So we reach the maximum speed we can do. We can reach the maximum altitude we told the plane to do. So that's the effective translation of speed alt. A little bit down into the downtown heart of Moscow.
100.
Now we'll level off, and then we'll make a big right-hand loop around the north. So we're northwest of downtown Moscow. We'll do around the north. Around the southwest, there's the airport we just left right there, off to our left and down. So we'll fly a little bit parallel to that, 10,000 feet. You can see there's somebody else just took off there. All right, show you a little bit of the scale of what we're going to do here. So we're going to continue on and over the next one, above 9,000 feet and above 10,000 feet. We're already there. So once we hit that, not this next intersection, but the next waypoint, we'll be able to speed up a bit. So just kind of drop this out of the way since we'll be able to hopefully just be able to show you where we're headed next. Sitting up tall in the seat, have the windshield wiper just in view. I'm 6'3" inches, so that would kind of explain that. It's probably about what I would experience in the sim. Don't know my Airbus seat settings. That would be fun to know. 2 times I've been in an Airbus simulator, I had all that fixed up for me, so I didn't have to worry about it. We're going to hit this next waypoint, and they're asking us to go up further anyway. We're probably just going to we're going to start step climbing. So while we're leaning that way, we'll just dial in. We're going to 37,000 feet, flight level 370. Here we go. So everything off to our right now will be the city of Moscow.
This is your captain speaking. We have now reached an altitude where you may use your approved portable electronic devices.
So everything off co-pilot side, off the right wing, all going to be downtown, heart of Moscow. We're going to go right around that. Okay, let's just do some flying here for a second. So each of these little step turns get us there. This is the last constraint we have at Besta, B-E-S-T-A, 280 knots. So we'll be able to climb beyond that. We'll go up to 290 and climb is probably what the computer's telling me now. Passing through be about 13,000 feet here in just another 30 seconds. Now we'll be flighting, do some level flight here for a little bit. Another 10 miles and we'll make a big right hand turn. And then eventually we're going to head due south. So we're now headed off to the southeast. About 120 degrees. We'll make a big right hand turn here in a second. That's the turn we're going to do, just right there at iPrep. We'll go past Russell, or Rugel rather, and iPrep, and then on towards the south. This is a flight for Delta Virtual Airlines, deltava.org. Again, we're in the Toliss A319. This is their version 1.4. It's a brand new version. Flying in X-Plane, the flight simulator, using version 11.5 and beta 6. So this is the 6th beta release for this. Not quite a stable one, but looks fairly stable. Honestly, this is my first experience. I'm going on what other flight simmers have said. Just crouch back down so you can see a little more scenery. Hey, look at there. I got somebody below us at 500 feet, probably landing over that one of those airports. Yep, probably that one right there. He's the closest one's 23 miles away, the other one's 66 miles away, so we're going to be all right. Okay. So we got another, once we get back on the straight on this one, we'll go about another 10 or 12 miles and we'll take another left-hand turn at Whiskey Tango, WT. And that'll put us on the, almost at the end, not quite on the end of the standard instrument departure, the SID. This is the FV SID, and specifically it's the FV3C SID. FV3C going to FV. Okay. Sit back up straight. Give you the view. It's not bad. Going right around. So everything off to the right. 45 frames per second. 44. I'll take it. Stutters a little bit to me still, but that's just me. 1,055 nautical miles to go, arriving at 144 Zulu, so it's 0144. We've got We're at 23:17 Zulu right now, so we've got a little more than about 2 hours and change, about 2.5 hours by the time we get out of the gate here. So we're going to make a left-hand turn. This is passing over WT, and then we'll be off. Next waypoint's 25 miles in the distance, and then the final one for the SID's 51 miles, and we should be getting close to the top of the climb, passing through 20,000 feet. And we actually gain speed up to total airspeed's 436 knots, 0.71 on a meter, 0.71 on Mach. Alright, come rolling out of that, now we'll be straight. So let me just show you where we're headed real quick. So there's DK, that's the next one. And then FV up here at the top, that's our last point on the SID. We'll take a pause on the sim, on the recording at that point, and we'll rejoin later on down the path. Go ahead and give you the full range as far as we can go. So there's our top of climb arrow just past FV before US. And we got to 320 miles. Still got a long way to go. So within just about 80 miles, 80, 160, 240, 320. So within about 80 miles we'll hit top of descent. So it just will be just on the outside of this 80-mile range now. Be just on the outside of that. Somewhere about about 83 miles or so, something like that. Alright, so we got about 60 more miles to go on to kind of complete the SID here. I'll put this up here. Try to enlarge these a little bit so you can kind of see. It does make a little bit of difference on the video screen. I hate it when I have to squint to see them myself, so kind of feel for you. They're on a 30-inch display on the two 30-inch displays, so they're pretty large to me. But when you look at it on your phone, or look like it on a tablet or laptop or any desktop, I'm sure the YouTube video is going to look really, I mean, these are going to look small in a YouTube video. Our anticipated weather when we get to Baku will be winds out of the south, so we'll be landing to the south on runway 17. That's a 10,000 foot runway. We'll use the instrument landing approach, ILS approach. And we'll do a little bit more of a briefing when we get a little further down the way. So about 4 miles will be over DK, our next waypoint. South of the city of Moscow. We're really going to travel south for just a little bit more, and then we're going to turn more easterly, and we'll eventually go pretty much southeast now for another a little more than 1,000 miles. Looks to be no severe weather ahead. No SIGMETs, no AirMets have been filed in our flight path. Not sure about any pilot reports, PIREPs. Weather looks VFR en route. We've got our plenty of alternates. If we were to go a little further southeast or even a little further east, that weather might actually, there's some SIGMETs a little further east and southeast of us. Off to the plains right, way out 500-600 miles, almost close to 600 miles out. Looks to be some weather in Poland that doesn't look to be too nice. Some pretty hard IFR conditions over there, and even some low IFR in Austria and all that. So we're not headed that way. We're headed, looking at the map, a bunch of green dots, the weather, so we should be pretty good. Not to say we won't hit some turbulence or something like that. That is modeled in X-Plane. That is modeled using the Active Sky weather engine. So we definitely have that. Passing through 29,000 feet on the way to 37,000 feet. The give you the map here for a second to look at that. Top of the climb should be about 60. Looks like 60 to 65, a little more than 60 nautical miles from us right now. Climbing about 1,200 feet per minute. Traveling at a little bit of a tailwind component. It's at 296 degrees at 27 knots. So it's given us a little bit of a boost. We're picking up about 22 knots off of that. That's not bad. 0.74 Mach, 282 or so indicated on the strip in the airplane, translating over the ground and all that. Total airspeed of 440 and ground speed 463. Not too bad. The plane will do up to about 0.8 Mach. No need to really push that. We're in the climb right now. Once we get close to the top of the climb and start to level off, we might see it increase up 0.77, 0.78, 0.79. Depends on how the winds are behind us. Should have a tailwind behind us. Yeah, we should appreciate about a 22 knot tailwind. One plane out there way out in front of us, but it's going to fly. We're going to fly. If we're close to it, we're going to fly beneath it. It's way beneath it. All right, so we just come under 999 miles. We got less than 1,000 miles to go. Our arrival just a little more than 2 hours from right now. 2 hours and 20 minutes from right now. Long enough time to watch a movie if you're in the back. Have a meal or whatever else. When we get to the top of the climb, we'll pause everything here and pick back up somewhere in the descent, which will be quite a ways from now. We'll need somewhere, depending on where the landing altitude is, we'll need well more than 100 miles to come down from flight level 370. Typically you can take the 370, you can take the 37, multiply that by 3, and that's going from 37,000 feet down to basically to sea level. Most of the time we need to go from flight level down to about 10,000 feet, get into the arrival pattern, and go from there. 15 miles to go for our next waypoint. We'll make a little course correction, I'm sure, and then we'll head toward the next waypoint, the US Uniform Sierra. We're just connecting dots today. We're on upper airways. Right now we're on R11, Romeo 11. And then we'll connect at Uniform Sierra, this US up here in just a minute, right at our top of climb. We'll go on Alpha 722 for a bit. And we got a total of 5 different airways we'll use today. No duplicates. We'll get the standard terminal arrival route. The star will ride in on the ROPKA, ROPKA. ROPK1G is technically what we're flying today. And then that'll put us pretty much due north of the airport, We'll fly south, right down the approach to the ILS, the entryway to the ILS. The initial fix is north of the airport as well, so we'll just fly straight into that. The one video I did earlier where we were in the Middle East, kind of did a looping turn. That was kind of interesting. It was double S turn or whatever. That's in a prior video. The one where we're in flying through Bahrain. That's kind of cool. All right, flight level 343, just 34,300 feet. We were up to 0.78 Mach. A little bit of a tailwind, kind of coming from the right side of the aircraft, but it's still pushing us. We're going to turn just a little bit more. So if the winds aloft here at 34,000 feet are coming from 301 degrees, you certainly don't want to fly 301 degrees because you'll be flying into it, right? So if we do the reciprocal of that, so 180 degrees off of that, if we turn to about 121 or 120 or so, we'd have that whole component, that whole 29 knots pushing us. And I've seen where our ground speed will be well over, not well over, but be over 500 knots. So we'll take that any day of the week, because that just put in the same amount of fuel effort and the same amount of thrust, and you get out a little more return. It's always nice. Alright, so we're gonna, in 26 miles, we'll be pretty much at top of descent. We're only climbing now at 800 feet. Still fairly heavy, having just taken off only about 23 minutes ago. Leaving Moscow, headed to Baku, Azerbaijan. Total trip's going to be a little more, almost 1,100 nautical miles. 1,057 is the expected. Probably a little bit more. Currently have about 950 miles to go. It's coming up on the bottom half of the hour. It's almost 23:30 Zulu.
1,000 to go.
We're 1,000 feet below our assigned altitude, and we're climbing straight to that. Slowed down just a little bit, 700 feet per second. And it'll probably ease on down until we get there. About 18 more miles to go to reach our next waypoint. We'll kind of have a slight turn. This is again heading us a little more toward the southeast. And we'll pretty much stay that course for hundreds of miles. So, like I said, we'll pause the recording here in just a second and then pick back up with you on the other side. Yeah, we'll be at top of descent, calculating about 5 more miles. Okay, reached 37,000 feet, flight level 370. We're over the next waypoint here in 5 miles, and then we'll be heading on down to Baku. 940 miles to go, about 2 more hours of pure flight. So we'll pause the recording here, and then we'll come back in just a bit. Still at flight level 370, 37,000 feet. And we have about 177 nautical miles left to go in the trip. We're about 40 miles from our top of descent point. And you can see off on the map, we're going to be getting close into ROPKA is our part of our arrival, and then kind of a string of waypoints that are going to lead us right into the airport. So let's go back. We'll zoom out just a little bit. We've gained about 5 or 6 minutes of time coming in so far. We were supposed to be here about 01:45, and we'll be here about 01:39. That's time of landing and all that kind of stuff. That's the intent anyway. We'll see how we do. It's coming down on the descent and all that stuff. So it's actually started to be a little bit of morning. We got a arrival of about 5:30 a.m. local time. So a little bit of a sun off on the horizon here. Leave the map up just for a little bit. It'll just give you an opportunity to kind of look out and around. So in order to get ready for the descent, we're going to go through the descent preparation checklist. That's checking in with approach. There's no ATC today for me, so we're just going to play on. We're on the assigned arrival, so the star is we've already picked that. We've already picked our approach. We need to pick up the weather, so let's do that real quick.
Uniform, Bravo, 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 airport information, Victor, 0100, Zulu, weather, wind, 163 at 4, visibility, 10,000, sky clear, temperature, 152.11, QNH, 1018, advise on initial contact, you have information, Victor. Uniform, Bravo, 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 airport information, Victor, 0100, Zulu, weather, wind, 163 at 4, visibility, 10,000, sky clear, temperature, 152.11, QNH, 1018, advise on initial contact, you have information, Victor.
Okay, we'll have information Victor then. Okay, so we're anticipating to land on runway 17. Winds are 163, so that's pretty much right that. And it's only 4, so it's pretty much right down the nose. Going down the descent preparation checklist. Got about 20 miles to go before we hit that, so we'll probably about 10 more minutes. 10 more miles we'll probably do it. We have an approach type where we're doing ILS, runway 17. The decision height's about 110 feet. I typically use 250. If the weather was socked in, it was fine. It'd be different, but it's VFR conditions there. Got the approach speed set. 132 is our approach speed today. We looked at the route coming in, and transition altitude would be 11,000 feet. And cabin sign should come on at 10,000 feet. Anti-ice as required. We don't need it. Outside static temperature is minus 48 degrees Celsius, so we're good there. And then the barrel reference will set when we, it's at standard now, we'll set it when we get there. Alright, so we're going to go down to, all the way down to 2,000 feet, but we need to be at 11,000 feet first, so we'll just set that one.
Open descent.
We're going to
Descent.
manage descent. So we really need to be down at ROPKA, ROPKA is our main waypoint. We need to be at or below 11,000 feet, 11,000. We'll also slow down to about 250 or so. A little flutter out there on the horizon. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. That's really weird. There's pretty colors over here though. And there's the sun right there. Tau Airways out there. passing along us. So we're passing through our top of descent point, currently going down at about 1,000 feet per second, not the frames per second. So we'll just swap that with this. That's really annoying right there. I'm not sure what the flicker is all about. We got 60 frames per second up there. Coming through flight level 360, 36,000 feet on our way down. Thanks. We got already iPod telling me what the ATIS, the weather frequency would be. In the sim, you can do a couple of things. Active Sky has a, you just dial in 122.025 and it gives you the weather at your destination. So we'll get on the vertical profile here in just a second. We'll just kind of go down that. Aiming to get down to about 11,000 feet here in about 80 miles. Here comes the green dot coming down, so we're on the profile. Now down to 2,200 feet and descending. Throttles have idle back. Hopefully you can hear all that. You can hear it when you're sitting in the window exit seat, that's for sure. When you're in the real Airbus. I don't understand what that flickering's all about. Hey, well, let's go outside and see if that will reset it. Oh, that's pretty. Nope, it didn't reset it at all. That over there is flickering. That's weird. I don't understand. That is some weird coloration right there. That's not supposed to be that way. 140 frames per second. Okay. Because there's no terrain to be seen out here? Is that what that is? That's just weird. I don't get that. Sorry, it moved some of my bits around here too. Let's get you set over here. Kind of where we were. Okay. I'm going to do something real quick and change the quality on that just to see if that has something to do with it. This is going to show up and kind of hide some stuff here. That's just really weird right there. Let's see if we can make that a little bit better. That I don't like. I don't understand what that's all about.
Speed.
That is really weird. It's supposed to be in throttle idle. Now let's look at the engine. Oh, the engines are not in throttle idle. Are they okay? They're in the cruise slot. That one's wiggling a little bit. Let's see if we can get those to stop. Alright, so let's look at that real quick. We're not in, right, still in 1% still up, so that's interesting. I have a third monitor where I park these so I can kind of watch them during the flight. So temperature outside static. That's the temperature of basically the skin of the fuselage. Time in Zulu. Our gross weight, cabin altitude should be coming down. We're going to land at about sea level, so let's see if it's better out there. Yep, it's gone. Okay. Sometimes it just takes a little refresh. Nope, it's still back. Yeah, great. Well, I didn't expect it was going to be perfect, but can't fly with that over the whole time. Alright, so here's our next waypoint, 49 miles to go. Coming through 27,500. going down to 11,000 right here at ROPKA. We'll have to slow down a little bit when we get there. Everything else is just kind of a string of pearls right into the airport. We'll go from there. So we'll take this little bit of a right-hand turn. Turn almost south, and eventually we'll get there and we'll slow down. Hey, we got some clouds showing. A little bit of clouds there. Some clouds out the captain's side window here. Nice tall wispy clouds. Really pretty blue right there in the middle. So our arrival time was supposed to be 01:45 Zulu, and we're still holding at 01:39 with about 100 miles to go. So we'll go ahead and turn on, we are doing an ILS landing, so we'll turn on the landing system light, turn that system on, the ILS, warm up the ILS if you will. And then our next step down from 11,000 will come down to 2,000. That'll be our final approach fix, so it'll descend down through the next set of pieces. We're over a big sea, and this is massive. I mean, it is huge. It's at least, it's almost 400 miles long. Surrounded, I just don't know my Middle Eastern or East Central, sorry, yeah, Eastern European geography. I'll get it in a second. Got a bunch of VFR weather around us, so I'm happy for that. We'll be landing on kind of a peninsula here in just a few minutes. Should be in about 20 minutes. We should be on the ground. Coming through almost 23,000 feet. Just a real quick check. There's our next waypoint, 33 miles. Should have plenty of time to get down to 11,000 feet by ROPKA. Hopefully that'll be without incident. So. Somebody that's 81 miles ahead of us. That's about where we're going. Turkish Airways. They're at 0 feet at 15 knots. So hopefully they're just taxiing around the runway. 737-900. Alright, so the briefing, we've got estimated fuel on board by the time we land. We'll have 4 metric tons. No issues with the crew or the passengers. We looked at the weather. We got the nav frequencies, the terrain obstructions ahead. There's, to my knowledge, no restricted areas in this part of the world, where I am anyway. We're not really going to go more than 280 knots going down the, probably pretty stable on the approach. When we get down to 10,000 feet, we'll go down to 250 knots. We got to go around the procedural brief again. I've looked at it, but we'll brief it again. We're expecting a 10,000 foot runway 17. We don't have a gate assignment or a taxi route. We'll just take the first available gate. No known regional weather or other hazards. So that's our approach and landing briefing checklist. Next one will be the approach checklist, passing 10,000 feet. Turn the landing lights on and all that stuff. Okay, so we are now 74 miles to the airport. It's almost a straight shot. Once we make this right-hand turn, I'll show you the overview map real quick. So here we are. We've got this next waypoint 17 miles out. We're 18,000 feet and descending. And we'll make this one, this is maybe about 30 miles out or so. Not quite 40 miles, so about 30 miles out. Right hand turn, and then we'll start descending down, and there's the airport. So 70 miles on the meter, so about exactly right there. .68 miles away from the BAKVOR, so right there at Baku. We went through 17,000 feet on the way down to 11,000 feet. Anything else relatively stable. And no icing, no turbulence en route. We'll turn off the terrain. We're good there. We'll go ahead and arm the brakes. We're just going to use, these are the auto brakes. We're just going to use low. No need to do anything more than that. Alright. So we've got it set 11,000 feet, managed speed, managed navigation, managed descent. So just kind of automatic. So he must almost be parking if he's down to 1 knot. Same plane we saw a minute ago. Okay, we got about 5 miles to go, 11 miles, 15 miles to ROPKA after that. So we're on the green dot on the decel over here. It's 1,600 feet per minute in the descent. Once we get down to, well, it's a slow down here, but once we slow down, we'll pick back up with our descent and move on. We still have plenty of time, 56 miles to go. So just to give out a little bit of the details how the sausage is made, I used the simbrief.com to brief the, or rather to plan the flight from Moscow. It tries to pick the most efficient route, gives us an idea about altitude, flight level. So we got the 37,000 feet, and then I confirm that with a weather engine. That's the active sky to make sure that that's the most favorable winds. And we had about anywhere from 10 to 30 knot tailwind kind of coming down. We were mostly traveling southeast the whole time, so we had a little bit of a push. I didn't get the full effect of that. There was a little bit where I got into a 30 knot tailwind, and it was a little bit more behind me, directly behind me, pushing. Or some people say a negative headwind, tailwind, but a negative headwind. Carried a full complement of passengers. This is the Airbus A319. And we're going to level off here in just a short order, right at 11,000 feet. 1,000 to go is what his co-pilot just said. So we got about 48 more miles to go. We're going to decelerate here in just a minute, and we're going to make our turn past ROPA. So we've hit 11,000 feet, and now we should start to decelerate a little bit. When we get to 10,000 feet, we'll decelerate down to 250. We'll come through transition altitude. So in just a minute we make this turn, it'll get busy again. So now we're going to look for a big right-hand turn, turning us to about 45 degree turn here to the right, and then we'll correct back and make a little bit of a turn. And that point on, we're just kind of straight in. So turn a little bit to the right, slowing down to 250 knots. and then we pass that waypoint here in just 3/4 of a mile, and then we'll start descending down to reach 2,000 feet. 40 miles to go and in about 10 minutes flight time. Alright, so we're going to dial in 2,000 feet. And we're going to push it to the plane.
Descent.
That'll be a managed descent. And we'll come under and we'll set our QNH. So 30.06 or 1018. Depends on how you look at it. 5 miles to go. We'll take a left-hand turn, and we'll be right in that. Looks like there's that aircraft, that Turkish Airlines was actually taking off. He is now
Flight level 100.
almost 7,000 feet at 250 knots, and he is 44 miles away from us, so might be a surprise, but we might sneak right underneath him. Yeah, he's climbing. Yep, he's climbing. He's up to about 7,000 feet, so it was 6,600 just a minute ago. Now he's at above 7,000 feet, so 40 miles away from us. We expect some traffic here at an airport, but hopefully not that. Alright, just a minute here, 30 seconds or so, we'll make a left-hand turn, and we might see some stuff light up over here on the instrument landing system. He should come into view here just a second, just past there it is. Just past the frame here, A-frame. You don't physically see him because he's still 40 miles away from us, but we're about the same speed as long as we're that far apart. I'm okay. Same altitude rather, and speed. Alright, so I just show you the map real quick. So now we're next waypoint just a few miles out, and then just kind of keep going. We'll reach down to 2,000 feet, be at or below 2,000 feet, and that'll be our runway threshold right there on runway 17. 7,500 feet. Just slide over just a little bit so we can see. A little bit further straight out. I do not have the runway in sight, but it should be about right there. Let's just zoom in. I don't see it yet. I don't know if that's water or is that us down there? I don't know what that is. It's not really turning anymore. Let's line up straight. If we were going, let's just use the binoculars and try. Oh, there it is. Is that it? I don't know. It's alright. We're still 20 miles out. A little bit of haze over the water. 6,000 feet. Let's go ahead and arm the approach. Activate the approach rather. It'll slow us down a little bit. We really shouldn't be 250 here. We should really be. There we go. Yeah, we got some lights now. Straight ahead of us. So I'll show it to you in little zooms. We're going to continue about this course pretty much on. We're just going to be a little fast, so we're going to throw out the speed brakes and see if we can kind of bring it down a little bit. You hear a little bit of rumble. Go ahead and arm the approach. That'll get us tightened up a little bit. Throw the second autopilot. And we're at 240. Might as well go ahead and hit the gear. We're going to be a little fast. Hit the brakes up a little bit more so we won't overrun all that. We still got 17 miles, but let's bring our speed down. It's a pretty quick descent over there at 2,600 feet. That was my fault. I should have just went ahead and come on all the way on down. May have to do a go around on this one. We'll see. This is all just for fun, so it doesn't, not going to really kill anybody one way or the other. Yeah, we just ballooned. Okay, we'll put flaps 1 in.
1,000 to go.
We got flaps 1, we got the gear down. We'll come down to about our S speed about 185. We'll go ahead and put our second flaps. So flaps 1. Alright, we're coming through. Here comes 185, flaps 2. And the flaps coming out. Got to be at or above 2,000 feet here in 2 miles. I think we're going to be alright. Might just be a little bit high. There's flaps 3. And here comes flaps full at about 150. Flaps full. We already got the seatbelt signs on because we came through 10,000 feet. I need to go reach over here and turn on the no smoking sign, although nobody's smoking anymore in the plane. Landing speed is going to be, approach speed about 132. Sometimes we get that kind of an irritating speed warning. Had that last time on 321. It's almost like it ballooned right here somehow. Alright, so we've got over 2,000, at or above 2,000 feet. We've made that point. 3 miles to go. Need to be at or below 2,000 feet. And you can see the purple diamond on the vertical part of the glide slope here, or the glide slope is coming down. Localizer's okay. Telling us we got a little bit of a wind coming off from the right side to the left, but only 7 knots. And that's at 2,600 feet, so usually a little bit less than that on the ground.
Glide slope.
Down the glide slope, here we go. We're expecting winds pretty much down the, according to the recorded weather, expecting winds pretty much down the runway heading right in our face. Probably a little bit stronger and a little bit more to coming off the right here by about 10 or 15 degrees. So it might push us just a little bit off left of center line. Coming through our last waypoint in about a quarter of a mile now. A little more than that. We are on the glide slope coming down to 2,000 feet, and we're on that waypoint now. 6 miles to go. 2,000 feet exactly. And we'll just dial in. Let's just put up there at 5,000 feet. We got to be at least 2,000 at the very first waypoint beyond that. So 5,000 will get us out of danger. Don't see any terrain. We pull off. We're going to pull off. If we do a miss, we're going to pull off and go to the left and then circle back around. I'm not planning to do a missed approach, but all right. There's our runway in sight. 5 miles out. 1,500 above. So pretty much right at about 90 feet above sea level, basically. We should be stable at 1,000. Let's just peek ahead. 2 whites, 2 reds. Alright, so we're on this matches both in vertical and horizontal. Well, at least the vertical matches. Horizontal's pretty close. Like all the houses out here, that's pretty cool. Lots of trees. Still doing okay, 38 frames per second landing. Not the world's busiest airport, but it'll do. 1,000 feet to go. 3-mile final. Confirming that we're on runway 17. Confirmed we had earlier. I confirmed earlier we had the ILS alignment. Gonna let the plane fly all the way down. Autopilots, both autopilots are on. And we need to arm the spoilers and check the cabin. So we got one blue item to do, so we'll just 2, 3, 4. We are landing. Just in the nick of time too, at 500. So 500 feet above, that's the radio altimeter call out. Doesn't see like there's any surprises here, looks fairly level. Coming through 400 feet. I set minimums at 250, but the actual minimum for this runway is about 110, so we can clearly see all of the runway. There's 250. That'd be our minimum. It would come under 200. Over the threshold about, let's say 75. 50, 40, 30, we'll retard right about there. Hey, there we go. A little plug-in called Head Shake. That'll make your nice little bounce. Alright, 70 knots. Wouldn't lose that. Can we make this turn? Oh, there's brakes. Yep, let's make that turn.
Seatbelt sign is turned off, and the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
Flaps up.
On behalf of everyone at Delta Virtual Airlines,
Spoilers are all good.
flying with us, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Speed checked. Flaps 1.
No. Copilot likes to do his job too well. Alright, so let's get rid of that. Let's bring up the map. Let's get the Copilot to do the after landing checklist, and we'll bring up the airport as to where we are. And we want to go heading. Okay, so there we are right there. Big left-hand turn. So I like using that map. Let's just make sure we don't have anybody over here. Speed brakes are disarmed.
Do you want the APU?
I always want the APU. Okay. So let's get on this taxiway. We probably have hot brakes. Yep, we got hot brakes. Look at that. So the indicator is, it's hard to see when the APU's on, but there's a wheel page we can look at. It'll tell us don't run off the runway. Tell us what the brake temperature is, and I knew they were going to be warm. So. All right, let's give you a better view. I'll take the map off the page here, and we'll get back. I promise we'll get back over here on the center line. Nothing like trying to explain why you got dirt on your wheels, right? Makes no sense. Seemed like a pretty decent landing. It's hard to tell that sometimes the head shake plug-in when you land, even if you land decent, kind of makes it a little, looks like it's a little more jarring than it really is. 250 feet per, negative 250 feet per minute, or 250 feet per minute on a descent is what you want. on main landing gear touchdown, and we wanted to land within about 1250 of the touchdown. So the 321, for whatever reason, just historically, or for me anyway, I cannot land it short. I'm always at 2,500 feet on that thing. Sometimes 2,000 feet. Sometimes 2,000, 2,100, 1,900, whatever else. But I've had some of these shorter Airbuses, different model, different simulator, where I've landed it at right at 250 and 1250, and it just makes you feel good. So, all right, kind of looks like we probably just ought to go this way, because there's really nothing over there to park the plane to, and there's the tower over here. So normally that's kind of where we go. So I'll give you the view of where we're headed. Just going to take that, and hey, look at there. We'll just go that way. That works. So we'll put you back in the cockpit. There we go. Let's just follow the S over here. Looks like there's some parking spots over there somewhere. I'm not too particular about parking spots. Sometimes I like making sure that I'm in a gate that would accept a Delta jet, but I've parked just in cargo spaces before. I'm not particular about that, and if this is full, then we're going to do the same thing. But hey, get to see some of the other Wizz Air, Azerbaijan. There's some Ukraine stuff over there. Not stuff you see every day in Atlanta. The good part about it is most of every spot where there's a light pole, it's kind of the European model, there's a parking spot. Hard part is, I don't want to hit those wings. Hard part is I don't know if there's a free spot available. Nope. So we'll just give you the drive-by look. Kind of not likely to run into a whole bunch of anything. We'll go around the corner here, and if we can't find something, we'll just make something happen. And we're just going to swing around. Could probably slow down a little bit in the turn. The brakes will be fine. They'll cool down, whatever they're. What's the temperature on the brakes? Oh, they're fine. One's about 360 at the most. That's not too bad. Alright, somebody got a spot for us, or are we totally full down here? Wow. I'll show you, but it looks like it's full all the way down here. So we'll just find a parking spot somewhere. Sometimes I've actually just taken and just parked right on top of the other planes and been done with it. Just kind of like get tired of that. There's stand parking over here, more likely. Let me just pull that map back up. Yeah, there's some more stands down here. I just got to get to them. So this becomes really boring after a very short little while. Not finding a parking spot gets a little frustrating. Okay, so we'll just pull it out here where there's some nice scenery to look at. We'll just do a really quick summary of the flight, and we'll call it a day. So we'll just put the parking brakes right there. We gotta let everything cool down anyway, so let the parking brakes hold for a second. Alright, well, thanks for flying with us. This was a really nice, pretty easy trip. No surprises.